All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to PSG's webinar on good documentation practices. Thank you for choosing PSG as your professional development resource. My name is Shirley and I will be your host for today. Before we get started, I would just like to quickly introduce your go-to webinar toolbar. As you can see, you have a question or chat bar. Please use this to type in any questions at any time during the webinar. Questions will be addressed by our speaker at the end of the webinar. You also have a handouts bar, and the slides to this presentation are located there. So if you'd like to take a moment now to click to open these items, you can follow along during the presentation. Please note the slides are password protected, so this password is going to be provided to you in the chat bar right now. Okay, so you should have that password forwarded to you. So if you have any trouble accessing the handouts, please let us know in the chat or email us at info@psg.ca. I would now like to welcome and introduce our speaker for today, Josephine Ray. Josephine is a quality assurance professional with over 15 years of experience in the pharmaceutical, biopharmaceutical, and medical device industries. She has extensive expertise in GXP quality assurance processes, FDA, Health Canada, EU and ISO regulatory compliances, validation, laboratories, manufacturing, packaging, and shipment areas. Josephine has worked in the UK, Singapore, and Canada for small to large multinational companies and is currently in a quality management role for a contract biomanufacturing company. She has managed teams in manufacturing, QA, and QC within the pharmaceutical field. Josephine is also a member of the Royal Society of Chemistry from UK. So without further ado, Josephine, thank you so much for being here today, and I will pass it over to you.
Hi all, excuse me, hopefully I won't lose my voice. So today we're going to be talking about the good documented practices in GMP environments. And let's see if I can move my slide. I've got to move the mouse the correct. There we go, sorry. So the objective to today will just to go over the importance of the documentation in the GMP environment. So GMP being good manufacturing practices, and it's an aspect of quality assurance that ensures that the medicinal products are consistently produced and controlled to the appropriate standards, and they're fit for their intended use. If your documentation isn't written or recorded correctly to a certain level of standard, it could negatively impact the product and potentially reduce patient safety. So we'll go over some of the principles of the GDP as we go through it. So this is the outline of today. So GMP principles, I'll go through some types of documents and records, general requirements of GDP and some of the basics within it, and then a little bit I'll touch on electronic records and signatures. So documentation. Without documentation, auditors or inspectors, health authority inspectors aren't able to assess if your company has produced their product to the correct standards. It's your route for them to assess that it's been done properly and the product is fit for its intended use. So it's all the way through from development, manufacturing, and testing activities. The purpose of documentation, it'll ensure that your staff know what to do and when to do it, and it's consistent throughout all the staff. Ensures that there are specifications for all your materials and methods of manufacture and control. Ensures that authorised personnel, that's people that have been trained to do it, and have been given the access to do it, have all the information necessary for releasing that product, and that they use the documentation for verifying that the product was made correctly and can release it for commercial And the documentation provides an audit trail which you can, and historical record, which you can use for investigational purposes if something goes wrong, or even if you're just wanting to look at process improvements, and you can look back at the documentation to find the trends, etc., for process improvement.